Hey, it's me, LaserDude99 here. You guys remember, today we have such great cartoon shows, don't we? I mean, we have that one about the kid who goes to school and he has that guy who's his best friend. Yeah, guys, all cartoon shows today look exactly the same. At least most. Okay, I shouldn't say all, because, all of today's cartoon shows suck. Except for, except for Spectacular Spider-Man, Wolverine and the X-Men. The Batman wasn't that bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. And Johnny Test is alright, but everything else sucks. I love cartoons, man. Cartoons are the greatest. It's what you used to watch when you were a kid. Get up Saturday morning and watch cartoons. Well, nowadays, all cartoons look the same, and you have to get up on Sunday mornings, not Saturday, which totally sucks. But remember when cartoons were good? I do. And today I'm going to go and talk about some of my favorite cartoons that I had when I was a child. One of my favorites and all-time classics is...
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane.
Okay. Pinky and the Brain. I almost say Pinky and the Brain. Pinky and the Brain. This was a great show. I loved it when I was a kid. It was like one of the best things to watch on Saturday mornings, because this show is such a great idea. Two mice. This one was the smallest animals. One's a complete idiot. One's a really smart one. That's not new. That's been done before. But two mice trying to take over the world. That is awesome. It's a great show. I loved it. And it had almost the whole Gilligan's Island sort of thing where Pinky would mess it up every time. But Pinky and the Brain was smart comedy. It was smart, funny, and made you laugh. It made you think. And sometimes you'd be like, come on, I wish Brain would actually just take over the world, rather than realizing he's kind of evil, really. He is kind of evil. Because he wants to take over the world. We're rooting for the bad guy, but it's because of Pinky and his, stupid personality, No, trolls! No. Those are stuff Pinky says, for those of you who aren't familiar with the show. Pinky and the Brain was a great TV show. Get it, the DVD, for your kids, if you have any. It's great. Yeah, I'm not sure how many people know about this show, but, let's see if you can recognize the intro. If you can't recognize it, here, I'll show you on the computer. The Adventures of Tintin. If you didn't watch this show, that's sad, because it was a great show. I loved The Adventures of Tintin. It was basically a show about this kid reporter with his dog Snowy. And they went around the world on these adventures with a drunk sailor captain. Captain was awesome. He always had whiskey and was always drunk. There was a professor that was deaf and always he's like, you would say, get out of here. He's like, oh no beer for me, thanks, or something like that, which was always funny because you couldn't get rid of him because he would never hear you right. Tintin had great adventures. It was mysterious, had a little bit of it had lots of action, a little bit of comedy. It had everything. He went to the moon, he went through the jungles, and he never carried a gun, and yet he always did this trick where he would go behind you and say, "Alright, stick him up," with his fingers. And then the guy would go, "Oh," drop his gun, stuff. And Tintin was a lot of fun to watch as a kid. Okay, moving on to the next show. Alright, moving on to, by the way, before I move on to this, did you know that Tintin is going to be made into a movie by Steven Spielberg? I know. But anyway, moving on to the next cartoon. Ah, yes, Inspector Gadget. Anyway, as I was saying, Inspector Gadget. It was a great show. Even though he was a complete idiot, and the daughter and the dog always solved the mystery every time, except for once. I only saw once where Inspector Gadget actually took down the mad agents. For those of you who don't know, Inspector Gadget was like. It was a TV series about this guy who was like, he was human, but he had all these cybernetics in him, and he could do anything. And he would have to say, "Go, go, Gadget legs," or "Go, go, Gadget springs," or "Go, go, go, go." It was "Go, go, Gadget something." It was a great show. I loved it when I was a kid, especially with the villain, Dr. Claw. Oh man, I loved it. At the end of every episode, he'd go, "Next time, Gadget. Next time." He never got to see Dr. Claw's face. But you know what? My dad told me that when he was a kid and it was on, there was a Dr. Claw toy. And it had a covering over his face. But if you bought the toy, you could see his face. He didn't buy the toy. We were like, "Dad, what's wrong with you? We need to see Dr. Claw's face. It's the one face we never get to see in cartoons." No, why didn't he buy it? Why? Oh, why didn't he buy Dr. Claw? I mean, he's the villain. He's the only really villain of Inspector Gadget. It's really kind of starting to bother me. But anyway, Inspector Gadget. Huh. Okay, cool. Oh, come on! Okay, next up on our list.
Life is like a hurricane in Duckburg.
Okay, sorry, I got my aunt's upstairs and it's a little loud. Alright, let's continue.
Lasers, aeroplane, it's a duck blur. Life's all a mystery, or rewrite history. Doctails, woo! Every day they're out there making Doctails.
You're from the nostalgic critic. It will never leave. Anyway, sorry. Alright. DuckTales was a great show. Like, it had adventure comedy. You had Huey, Dewey, and Louie. I've forgotten which one's which color. I believe red one's Huey, green one's Dewey, and blue one's Louie. I believe that's how it works. Another show that came like after DuckTales was on for so long was a great show. Had a lot of fun with that. That was a great show. You don't see anything like DuckTales on. Nothing like nothing's like DuckTales on TVs like DuckTales nowadays. It's all stupid. You know what I saw? Like all DuckTales. All cartoons nowadays seem similar. Just a bunch of kids going to school and something happens to them. Stuff happens to them. There was one show before all of those that did it and did it good. Okay, I'll talk to that right after. But DuckTales, great show.